So we had a 13-hour bus ride down to Georgia. We stepped off that bus and it was a balmy 16 degrees. The coldest winter Georgia's had in 10 years just to welcome Indiana. It was great. However, when they stepped off the bus, they didn't let it get them down. They pressed on. They endured 2 months of the glorious days on Red Cloud Range. Everybody remembers that. And waking up every morning to frozen camelbacks in our so-called heated tents, I'm sure many people heard about. And who can ever forget the many wonderful meals that we ate standing up in the dining facility wearing IOTV and Kevlar. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask your soldier. I am sure they will tell you. By the time we left the MO site, everybody was definitely ready to get out of Fort Stewart and head to Iraq, where the only thing we had to worry about was the enemy and the heat. And who can forget the heat? If you've never been in that part of the country, it's hard to understand. But the daytime temperatures would get upwards of 120, 130. But we were lucky because our combat vehicles had air conditioning. So we could take that outside weather, when it was 120 degrees, and cool it off. It would be a brisk 110 inside the vehicle, no problem. Alpha Company went to Iraq to conduct a mission of ensuring the safe and secure movement of sustainment operations throughout Multinational Division North and ultimately all of Iraq. They trained hard for many months, and when the time came to execute, they did that with pride, with determination, with focus, and a true sense of purpose. Alpha Company was stationed at Cobb Spiker along with 2 other companies. The other 3 companies in the task force were a little further north at a place called Cobb Key West. Their mission was to conduct convoy security operations throughout all of northern Iraq, along some of the most dangerous, enemy-infested roads in the entire country. First Lieutenant Wood, along with First Sergeant Carlson, built a team of professional leaders and soldiers in order to effectively and efficiently complete every mission given to them. Command Sergeant Major Spade and I want to applaud them on the job well done. The leaders and soldiers displayed a professional courage and performed magnificently under their leadership. And I want to personally thank First Lieutenant Wood and First Sergeant Carlson, and as well as the rest of the leaders of Alpha Company for your constant support, your undying loyalty to the unit and your soldiers, and your continued focus on the mission. Gentlemen, thank you. To all of the soldiers of Alpha Company, you're the greatest soldiers a battalion commander could ask for, and I know First Lieutenant Wood and First Sergeant Carlson will echo that from the company level as well. You successfully completed over 200 combat missions, and you covered over 250,000 miles of the most dangerous roads in the world. And even though you encountered multiple IEDs and small arms fire incidents, you were able to maintain an excellent IED find rate. Now let me explain that for everybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. An IED is called an improvised explosive device, basically a roadside bomb. Everybody who watches the news knows that's the most dangerous thing we encounter in Iraq right now. When we got into country, here's the concept. Our job, as we're maneuvering up and down these roadways, is to try and find that roadside bomb before it finds us. If we do, then we've been successful, so we can move safely from one point to another. When we first got to Iraq, the average find rate throughout the country was below 20%. That means 80% of the time the enemy won and that bomb went off before we found it. That's why we're getting so many soldiers injured. By the time we left country, this battalion, as a whole, was averaging just under 50%. We had the highest IED find rate in the brigade as well as all of M&D North. We did that because we thought outside the box, we implemented standards, we were different from what the other units were doing, and we went outside of the gate every time with a different focus. Our focus was not to get safely from point A to point B. Our focus was to find that IED and find the enemy ambush before it found us. So a little change of focus, great leadership, excellent training and execution on the part of the soldiers, and that's why they did such a good job. However, even though when we first got to the country, Alpha Company took the first hard hit we had from the enemy. It was an EFP, which is, I want to explain what that is. Basically, it's a different kind of roadside bomb. It's a little more dangerous. We took a direct hit, and even though the enemy hit us hard, we still prevailed because we were able to continue the mission. Every soldier came back from that. And oh, by the way, we also helped to capture the insurgents that were responsible for that and get them turned in. So even though this company took the first hard hit, they also had the first great success. The company never quits. You guys refused to back down. Thereby you set the Predator standard early. So the enemy knew that we were a force to be reckoned with. I'm not only humbled, but I'm proud to have been given the opportunity to lead you into combat operations. You're the ones who continually battle the stress and fatigue of daily operations outside the wire. You're the ones who endured the long days and nights on the road and the blistering heat and the blinding sand, and everybody remembers the sandstorms on a constant basis. You are the ones who truly made the mission happen. Avengers, I want to thank you for a job well done. I also want to thank our rear detachment, for it is the rear detachment who holds the armory together for the commander and acts as an extension of the commander while we are deployed, and the mission cannot be successful without a strong rear detachment. Family Readiness Group. Cheryl and I want to personally thank the Family Readiness Group for their outstanding job and support of this unit and the soldiers. They were our information conduit to the families, and by volunteering, there's the key word, volunteering their effort and their time to support the families and the soldiers. There's one thing I've learned over the last several deployments. If you have a strong base back at home between the Family Readiness Group and the rear detachment, the soldiers can focus on what they're doing, and then that way they can get the job done and come home. And we did that together as a team. Last but definitely not least, I also want to thank the families. For it is you who, in my opinion, have the toughest job of all. And those of you who have heard me talk before have heard me say that. Because you must maintain the home front, you must take care of the kids, pay the bills, fix the car, clean the house, fix the roof, and the list goes on and on and on. But the hardest part you have is you also have to lay awake at night and wonder what we're doing and whether we are safe, and constantly concern yourselves with whether we're going to come back home. To me, that is very difficult. For us, our job is easy. We have one mission, one focus. Our families, you are our solid rock of support, and we owe you a debt of gratitude that can never fully be appreciated. So soldiers, you have got to make sure that you thank your families, because without their support, you can't do what you do. So families, thank you very much. Now, I sent newsletters home all the time, and I've heard a lot of comments from several people about those newsletters. Thank you very much for that. You know, I felt it was important to make sure the families were informed on what was going on. From my side, from the commander, because I wanted you to get the straight word. You know, rumor mills run rampant, and we got to try and keep that down. So I tried to send information back home so you wouldn't worry. But you notice, I tried to end one of those, or all of those, pretty much the same way every time, and that's how I'm going to end today. Together, we stood as one team, as one family, as one fighting force, and successfully, together, as a group, we completed the mission. So again, thank you all for coming today. Wide awake.